Now, it's been recently suggested that there are about 5,000 full-time blockchain developers globally. Airbus has actually indicated that they're going to need 3 times that number for their own blockchain initiatives. Do you believe that there's a real need for so many blockchain developers?
I think the businesses themselves know how many blockchain developers they need. And if Boeing's saying that, we should believe them. They know what they need. Um, and that's what prices transmit. Prices transmit the information of what the market needs. So if businesses are suddenly willing to pay blockchain engineers a bunch of money, people are going to go out there and see that and give, empower themselves with the skill set to help with those things so they can earn more money. So it, if a business says they need something, we should believe it.
I know. Now, I'm trying to pin you down to a number here. How many blockchain developers do you think that the world needs?
I have absolutely no idea, and I don't think anybody knows. You can't centrally plan that sort of thing, and to try to do so would be a fool's errand. It's a great, great, big, giant world with all sorts of different people with different needs and different businesses, and things change every day. So to think that you can predict that sort of thing is the exact sort of central planning that Bitcoin is meant to nullify. Bitcoin is supposed to allow everybody to do whatever they want with their own money and not have a bunch of central planners running around and saying we need to direct this many resources in this area and that many resources to that area. We don't know and nobody can know.
Okay, well, then considering that there's only a handful of traditional educational courses and or educational paths for people to learn blockchain, how's the market going to create them, these developers? I mean, do you think that it needs, I mean, it just is not going to bloom like a flower in the desert. Somebody actually has to sit down and try to figure these things out. I mean, what is your thoughts about that?
So you've just pointed out another fantastic business opportunity. If you already know a lot about blockchains, you can set up an educational school or website or system to educate people about blockchain. So whenever there's a need in the market finds a way. Entrepreneurs will find a way to meet that demand. So if there's a demand for people that need to learn about Bitcoin and blockchains, there's a great new business opportunity. Set up your first, Bitcoin blockchain school to educate these people, and you can charge them in cryptocurrency with it, which makes accepting payments from people all over the world for your new school incredibly easy. That wasn't possible before the invention of cryptocurrencies.
I think that's a great idea. I've already done that. So I'm really going to I'm going to complete this with a couple of questions here, and I'm going to want you to make some predictions. How many versions of Bitcoin do you think will exist in 5 years?
In 5 years, how many versions of
So
Bitcoin
we're
are
almost on the
going
cusp
to
of
exist?
3. So 5 years from now, how many versions are we going to have?
So I guess the definitions are very important. So most of the people that so to be fair, we're already on the cusp of 3, but there's already, I don't know, several other coins using Bitcoin in the name. So there's Bitcoin Dark and Bitcoin. There's a couple of other coins using the Bitcoin name, which I don't really consider to be Bitcoin, but they're using the Bitcoin name out there. Um, but as far as Bitcoins that have forked from the original Bitcoin Genesis block, we're on the verge of 3 in 5 years. My guess is maybe 5 at that point, but I think that there will be one version of Bitcoin that has the lion's share, maybe 80 or 90% of the market share of the version of Bitcoins out there is my guess. But
All right.
predicting the future is very, very hard.
So let's now take that lion's share Bitcoin and say, what is the price going to be in 5 years?
In five
Yeah.
years, I think coming up on $100,000 is very, very, maybe in the $100,000 range is well within the realm of possibility. And that would just be 20x from where we are today. So, and it's a moving scale too. It depends on how much governments inflate their currencies as
That's
well.
true
So if the
too.
U.S. government prints a whole bunch more dollars, Bitcoin can be up a lot more today in terms of dollars, even though it doesn't actually have more purchasing power in the market. It's worth pointing out that Bitcoin or dollars aren't wealth in and of themselves. They represent your claim to a share of the wealth that exists in the world. And if you go and inflate those Bitcoins or dollars, it's just diluting your share of your claim to wealth that exists in the world.
All right. The next one is this. the major Bitcoin that we have currently, I mean, it once held an 80 or 90% market share. It fell down to probably a low of the mid 40s. It's currently about 54%. Do you think that it'll ever regain that commanding market share?
To be honest, I hope it will, but I think it's unlikely at this point. Bitcoin had this just absolute light year head start on top of every other cryptocurrency. And these people that openly say they want Bitcoin to have high fees and unreliable transactions have destroyed that first mover advantage. And the main place where Bitcoin still has some of that first mover advantage is in name recognition and overall user base size, but it's really been eroded and severely damaged by these people. And they're still, not because they're bad people, but just simply because they don't understand the economic reasons that Bitcoin came to be used as money. They're still busy damaging Bitcoin's first mover advantage, and they're still busy damaging Bitcoin's usefulness in commerce. And if they continue to succeed in damaging Bitcoin's usefulness in commerce, it's going to continue to lose even more market share to these altcoins. So it breaks my heart to say that, but I think that's the truth, and the truth is much more important than my emotional attachment to Bitcoin.
All right, so my final question is this. You've said that there's a potential to be 5 Bitcoins in 5 years, 5 branches or forked Bitcoins. Do you think that any of those upcoming versions is going to become the dominant one? Or is it going to be one of the existing 3?
So in the short term, I'm most bullish on the SegWit2x version of Bitcoin. It has 90+% of the ecosystem support, and I think that's going to happen. In the long run, I'm probably a bit more bullish on Bitcoin Cash, to be honest, because if SegWit2x happens, a lot of these people that aren't such big fans of on-chain scaling are still going to be there, are still going to be fighting and arguing over that. Whereas Bitcoin Cash, the stated goal from day one is just to allow Bitcoin blocks to become as big as they need to be, and that creates Bitcoin transactions that are incredibly cheap and incredibly reliable. And in the long run, businesses that offer their customers something that's cheap and reliable are going to do a lot better than businesses that offer their customers something that's expensive and unreliable. So in the short run, I'm bullish on SegWit2x. In the long run, I'm bullish on Bitcoin Cash. And if I had to throw in one other non-Bitcoin thing that I'm bullish on is the privacy coins. Bitcoin's privacy is much weaker than it needs to be. And so I'm bullish on the coins that have additional privacy above and beyond what Bitcoin has at the moment.
Well, I want to thank you for spending your time here. I know that it's early Saturday morning for you. And thank you again for being a guest here on Blockchain 360.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for the opportunity as well. It was fun.
All right.
The Blockchain 360 podcast is produced weekly. Have a question? Want us to interview someone specific? Wish to hear about a particular topic? Let us know. You can email podcast@blockchain360.co or tweet us on Twitter @blockchain360 or at our website blockchain360.co.